ever learned of who you are? Or have you ever seen yourself as a professional that has been derived into something else? Welcome to a new weekly podcast program titled My LCM. It's not least common notable, it's life-changing moments. This is a weekly podcast program wherein you will learn more about my life in my 20s and 30s. And you can learn from them, from the stories that we will be sharing today. This is inspired by Sarah's bedtime stories, The Art of Twins. Hey there, podcast listeners, and welcome back to our brand new episode of My LCM. And take note, it's not least common multiple, it's life-changing moments. If last week we have discussed, or we have purely discussed about who I am, now let's deep dive down on where did I really started. Actually, I do really much about this for now. And for quite a while, I am quite caring for someone who's depressed, caring for someone who's quite, or shall I say, quite a good, or maybe not so good moments with them. So basically, you are wondering what's gonna be our topic for tonight. But before that, can I have a favor to please follow and subscribe our podcast on the YouTube channel, Facebook, and on Spotify. It's called My LCM, My Life in 20s and 30s. You can search for My LCM 2023 on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And of course, don't forget to follow us on Spotify. Again, that's My LCM, My Life in 20s and 30s. And right after you listen to the podcast, can we have a rating from you so that we can know how can we improve our programming? And of course, you can answer our question for today, that how do you care for others? How do you really care for others? Maybe you might be asking, did you really care for yourself first? Or do you really care for others? Or do you think of others' needs? Let me ask you that straight to the point, because one thing's for sure that you're thinking about is about the word care. Yeah, you might be caring for others, but you don't care about others' feelings. You might be caring for someone's feelings, but you don't care about your feelings for yourself. So let me ask you this, do you really care for yourself first? Well, honestly, basically, when I turned 20 years old, I was really thinking of how could I really care for myself. 20s. 20s are the things that you must be independent of. Most especially when you're turning 21, especially if you're a male, you might be thinking for others that you are really independent. But first of all, let me ask you this, podcast listeners. Do you really care for others? Well, for some reason, you might be asking to me, do you really care for yourself, JM? Yes, I do really care for myself. But sometimes, I was really thinking and overwhelmingly thinking in my mind, if someone could really care for me. So, there's this called self-care. And you might be thinking that self-care might be too easy. No. It's very hard for you to self-care of yourself. And I mean it. And let me share with you my story about that. When I turned 21 years old, I was really thinking, how could I really push myself to the limits? Most especially that I'll be graduating in college. So, looking at the overwhelming situations that I have been really concentrating on myself. Caring for others is one thing that I have really come to my mind. But do I really care for myself? Yes, I do really care for myself. Some quite a little bit. But most of the time, I do really care for others. Why? Because number one, they approach me immediately whenever they have some problems. Like what I have said in my first episode of Who Am I do really advise others on how do they care for themselves. So my question to you is, do you have problems in your life? Do you really care about your problems in your life? Well, first of all, if you really care for the problems in your life, then you'll be able to solve the problems that others have in your same situation as yours. But if you're really thinking that you are not that good in solving problems, then there's something wrong about you. You don't care for yourself. Because first of all, caring for yourself might give you some solutions for you to be able to solve your own problems. Let me ask you again, do you really care for yourself? As for me, if I really care for myself, I'll be able to solve the problems. But for me, whenever I have some troubled problems, I always ask first my mom because she really cares for me. Because she cared for me for the past 32 years in my life. And you know about this, podcast listeners, most especially those who know about me. Being a 32-year-old guy needs some quite simple, or shall we say, serious responsibilities. Because first of all, you need to take care of your health. You need to take care of your feelings, emotions. You need to balance your emotions. You need to care for yourself, really. But if there's something troubles into your mind, then you might be asking your parents, how can I care for myself? And do you know what my mom has said? You need to look onto your past. So, JM, you're now talking that you have been talking to our first episode to us that you are really caring for yourself because you care for the past. Yes, first of all, in my opinion, you can really care for yourself if you look into the past. Because, first of all, if you care for yourself and you don't look in the past, then something's wrong, that you don't really care for yourself. Meaning that you must really care for anything that you have done. So, how can you care for yourself if you don't really look back into the past? So, in my opinion, let me tell you this, podcast listeners. If your caring stage is in the stage that you are still curious of how will you care for yourself, then you don't really care about what has happened to you in the past. Why? Because caring for yourself in your situation in the past might help you to care for yourself in the present and in the near future. So does this mean, JM, Someone might ask me, does this really mean, JM, that you need to think of your past because you want to really care for yourself? In my own opinion, it's yes. But if you don't agree with me, you can type it in the answers in our question of the day, that how do you care for yourself and for others, in our question, and you can leave a comment there, and we will read your comments about your opinions, or leave your comments in the comment section down below in our YouTube channel, My LCM, My Life in 20s and 30s, about your opinion of caring back into the past. Because sharing is caring, and taking back in the past could share. If you share your thoughts, you care for others who have the same situation, that their reasoning ability has been into their same situation, that most of you can really care for yourselves if you look back into the past. So, for me, in my own opinion, yes, you must look back into the past in order for you to really care for yourself. And if you really care for yourself and you want to solve your situations in the past, that your questions have been hanging in your mind, yes, really hanging in your mind, then you're really caring for yourself. So now, on this part of the program, we will delve now into your moments that do you really care for others. Now, if you really care for yourself, then you really have to care for others. Yes, if you have solved your problems that's been hanging in your past, and you have solved this right now, just now, you're saying you're a late bloomer. Yes, you're a late bloomer if you have solved the problem that has been hanging to your past when you're in your elementary, high school, and college days. Then congratulations, you have cared for yourself, and now you can move forward to care for others. But how can you care for others? Now, if someone has a problem and they approach you, ask them for their situation first. And if you can relate to their problems, then you care, then you have something in your mind that your solution might be, how could I say this? Might be in your past, or you might have solved your situation. You might have solved your problems in the situation that the same as the person who approaches you and really cares for you, because you have been solving their problems recently. Then that solution might work for them. And looking on to your past and looking on the situation that this person has been really taking in, my question to you is, are you ready to care for others? Because if you don't solve your situation in the past and you want to care for others, then they might be confused. So how do you care for others? Solve your situation in the past first. And then if you're a late bloomer and you have solved your situation in the past that's been hanging into your mind, your question that hanging into your mind, then congratulations, you can care for others. You can give your solution, and that solution might be solved in a manner that they will say thank you to you when they came back. Now, and lastly, do you think of others' needs? Because sometimes caring is not about how to solve problems. Caring is also for those who are in need. Caring like you are sharing what you have, because as they say, sharing is caring. You really share your talent, you really share your needs, you really share your possessions, you really share your how could I say this? You really share anything that you have, but not give all what you have, as they say. Share what you have, but not give all what you have. Now, how could you care for others' needs? First of all, you need to take look into their needs. Do they need something that's lacking of them? If they do, and if you have extra in your pocket or extra in your house, then you can share it to them. But if you have those needs that is exactly just for you and your family, and you want to share it to them, you might say, sorry, I don't have extra, but I can give you something that could help you. I can give you something that's exchange for the one you'll be helping, because if you share the things that are exactly for your family's needs, then you might be in the near future, you might have nothing, right? And that's where we would delve into the next question. How could you really care for yourself, and how could you cater and care for the needs of others? So now, let me ask you this. Do you really want to care for yourself? Do you really want to care for the others' needs? Then here's a simple solution for you. It might be true for you. It might not be true for you. It might be solved for you. It might not be solved for you. It's up to you. If you want to delve into that solution that I will be sharing to you, that you are ready to care for others. Number one, you need to think of what do you care about. Yes, number one is think of what you really care about. Do you really care for the needs of the teens? Do you really care for the needs of adults? Do you really care for the needs of the elders? Number two, ask yourself, do you really want to share those care that you needed in excess of your care that you have been receiving, overflowing receiving your care to others? If it does, then you can share it, and you can express yourself in the manner that you want to be, to the best of your ability. And then, third and lastly, let me ask you this. Are you ready to really willing to share the care for others? If you do, then congratulations. You are really a good bloomer. You're really a late bloomer if you do care for others right now. Unlike those in the past that you don't really care for others, congratulations. You really care. You are a late bloomer, and you are ready to care for the needs of others. So that's about it for our second episode. I hope that even though you might be curious, you might have those troubles in your minds that I am saying things over and over again. But please do take care of yourself, guys. Most especially your health. Drink lots of water, drink plenty of water, and take care of yourself as always. This is JM, and this has been your life-changing moments in your life, and you might have cared for your moments in your life in the past that you might share to others. God bless, and see you on our next episode. Hey! Wait a minute! Our next episode will be a video episode wherein you will learn about the life of our guest, our first guest for our My LCM video episode. It will be none other than Vivienne Aquino. So you will learn about her life. How did Vivienne change her life? That will be this coming Monday on our newest episode of My LCM, My Life in 20s and 30s special episode featuring Vivienne Aquino. God bless and see you on our next episode.